saw the look on my face, you saw the look on my heart to get out of this place. I seen something I've never seen before. When you put on the pineapple, we couldn't be friends anymore. Pineapple thousands, go on pizza. It's a fruit and you know that.
Not SN. Going into a bit of a Sunderland thing there. Never mind. As well, we'll have on all social medias, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as well, on the via Newcastle Fans TV. I'm your host, Kyle Thompson. I'm joined by Rob, Paul, and Lee.
Hello, lads.
He's alright.
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you.
Good. Before I start today's show, it is actually with a heavy heart that it's 4 years to the day that Pavel Sinichek passed away, and I've managed to find a post from one of my old programmes with Pav in the background of behind Lee there. So I want to commemorate this show to him because he was one of the cult heroes of Newcastle and one of the all-time great goalkeepers that we've ever had. He's loved by many Geordies around the world, and condolences to his family, and he'll never ever be forgotten. Rest in peace, Pavel Sinichek. Do you have any fond memories of Pav, lads?
I remember when he came back end of 2006. It was under Glenn Roeder. We had a goalkeeping injury crisis. Shay Given was injured, Steve Harper was injured, Tim Krul, the third choice keeper, was injured. Yeah, and so Sinichek, it was only for I think 2 or 3 games, but yeah, I remember the sort of feel good factor that it sort of generated.
Yeah, for sure. Paul, you got any? It's more your time, isn't it?
Yeah, bring back. As soon as you say the name, it just makes you smile. It makes you feel happy. Yeah. I remember the battles. I remember the fact that he would have that to and fro with Shaka Hislop, and he was just the perfect keeper for that particular generation, for that team.
Pav as a Geordie
Yeah,
t-shirt.
it's just like I say, immensely proud. Great memories, a great time for Newcastle, and like I say, a personality. He lit the place up, and he was one of the first players that you, at my age, just coming into football as 10, 11, 12, that you really sort of felt that connection with. He was an idol for many of a child of my age. And I even remember my school goalkeeper, his nickname was Pav, and he's still called Pav now.
Yeah.
So it's just one of them things, but he was absolutely loved and adored on Tyneside.
Yeah, indeed he was. Lee, do you want to, before round off on Pav?
Yeah, it's an iconic time because obviously I got it in football 95-96 season. I remember Pav being in the famous keeper strips with the Tyne Bridge and everything on it, the brown nails as well. Iconic. Him and Shaka Hislop fighting for a place as Newcastle trying to go on and win the league. So those are my early memories. Obviously, I remember when he came back as well. I even remember when he was at Sheffield Wednesday as well. So 4 years, it's just flew over. We've done a nice little touch on the channel before you lot all came on the channel. So go check it out. It's a nice little momentum for anybody who's fans of Pav, and it was like a good send-off because it was a shock to everybody. It shouldn't happen to anyone. Yeah. Just running on the streets and then you next thing you know, you're gone,
Yeah. Goes to show you enjoy each day as it comes.
Exactly that. So speaking of, and that's final touch on Pav Sinichek, rest in peace, and he'll never ever be forgotten. And as you can see, just from this show alone and comments and things like that, he's still very much loved on Tyneside amongst all Geordies. But we'll move on with a heavy heart, lads. And this week was actually Christmas. I've got a lot of stuff to get to before I actually start the show this week. But yeah, it was Christmas. I hope everybody will follow us, subscribe us. Lee, Paul, Rob, I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas. I know I did. Hammering into me Christmas dinner and things like that. I hope you all did as well. I hope you all had a smashing Christmas though. But let's get into the swing of things, shall we? We'll start it off on Boxing Day at Old Trafford, and going into this one, lads, we're all optimistic. I've watched the preview back since, and we're all really optimistic. Paul, I'll come to you first. Going into this game, we were really optimistic to get something, weren't we?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we were neck and neck, totally level with them in the league. Our form had been good. We certainly nothing to fear from going down to Old Trafford. And I think I said on the show last week I was confident of at least a point and possibly maybe getting the 3 points. I know we don't historically do great down there, but they've got a few really good players, and then they've got some who are just quite average, to be honest, by Manchester United standards. So yeah, why wouldn't we have all been confident going into that?
As the stream can see on screen, if you're listening on Nova Radio North East, the squad for the Man United game was Dubravka in goal, Manquillo, Shea, Fernandez, Lejeune, Willems in a back five, Sean and Matty Longstaff in midfield, Miggy Almiron in the number 10 behind Joe Linton and Dwight Gale. And this was a different side from this team that beat Crystal Palace. And Lee, I'll come to you. Were you surprised that the Longstaff started in midfield over John Joe and Hayden?
I wouldn't say surprised, because I did expect either the Man United game or the Everton game, one of those games will have the rotated. A lot of people are saying that, Man United are there for the taking. You might argue against that and for it as well, but look, I knew it was going to happen. Was a surprise? Probably not, because if it wasn't the Man U one, it would have been the Everton one. You can argue, look, he should have done it against Man U, he should have done it against Everton, whatever. At the end of the day, we didn't get any points on, so we're not going to win either way. But no, I wouldn't say I'm massively surprised, to be honest, Kyle.
Well, that's fair enough. Robbie, you got anything on the squad? Were you surprised that Dwight Gale maybe came in, or Willems because he was injured in the Crystal Palace game, wasn't he? So
yeah, this is the time of year where yes, the strength and depth is really tested to the maximum, and Gale. Let's face it, it was going to be either Man United or Everton that he was going to play. He was going to play either way, and I think Man United, yes, it was the right decision to play him, and I think. Yeah, I'm with you when you said in the video that I think we might need to sell him in January, because of course there was that big chance.
It's a talking point coming up.
He needs to put them away.
But we started fairly well in this game. For the first 20 minutes, I actually thought we were a much better side. Man United didn't really have much finance. We were passing the ball very comfortably in midfield. We were getting half chances, and eventually we got a deserved goal. The ball goes into Joe Linton, who holds it up brilliantly from Maguire. He puts it in, and it's been a long time coming, but any 29 lad, Matty Longstaff, hammers home to score his second goal of the season against Man United, and it's always a nice Christmas present to see a local Shields lad score, and he's becoming a bit of the Manx there, isn't he, at the minute? Paul, what did you think of the goal?
It was fantastic. I mean, credit goes as well to Joe Linton. It wasn't just a fantastic finish and a cool finish, but the way that he set that goal up was really, really encouraging. And a fantastic strike. Must be an amazing feeling to score your first two goals against Manchester United in the Premier League. Is just absolutely amazing. And as soon as we scored that goal, I was quite confident that we would go on from that point.
I thought so as well. I mean, it
we
was
were playing good stuff.
Well taken finish, and I want to touch on Jordan a little bit, because in this game he was under a lot of fire, not doing too much. But to be fair, he actually played really well against Man United, and we'll probably touch on to the Everton stuff later when he played well again. But a great assist for Joe Linton, and as I say as well, Maron, earlier in the season, if you're not going to score goals and you're not going to contribute in that regard, work hard, win the second balls, make sure you're doing the jobs right, and do things like that, and you'll still make, because you're opening up chances for the players. And Matthew was in the right place, slotted home brilliantly. Lee, you actually at the ground at Old Trafford. Describe the feeling going 1-0 up on Boxing Day at Old Trafford. Local lad.
Well, at least I wasn't choked this time. I was safe. I had 40. Big shout out to you, mate. I was safe, but it was very similar to last year, because we went 2-0 up quite fairly quick.
I thought I was dreaming that day.
We went 1-0 up. With iconic scenes, gone mad. Jody singing, bantering off against Man United, and all of that. It was limbs, put it that way. But I was pretty safe this week, so thankfully.
What do you mean safe?
In terms of anyone, I wasn't jumped on, I wasn't hugged, I wasn't strangled. I was just
#.
It was quite.
Does that just happen?
In all honesty, my celebration was quite calm.
Calm celebration.
We're celebrating come on, then we're 1-0 up. Can we go on and win 3 points? That was in the back of my mind.
Yeah, I mean, as it happens, we've took the lead at Old Trafford in each of the last 3 seasons, and it's not worked out for on each occasion. But we actually followed on from going 1-0 up, lads. We had a really good chance. Joe Linton has a really good run. He plays through Dwight Gale, and Dwight Gale has an amazing opportunity. He's had so many plaudits, get into the team, have the chances. Dwight Gale moment. Gets a chance and puts it over the bar. He doesn't even hit the target. I mean, this is the second really good chance now. We had one against Burnley where it's a Dwight Gale chance where he should finish. now this one against Man United where he doesn't even hit the target. And I see as my quick thoughts that I thought maybe with the greatest of respect, I think it might be now time to move Dwight Gale on. And he's done some fantastic things for Newcastle. That Championship season I'll never forget. He single-handedly with John Joe Shelby carried us to a Championship title and got us back into the Premier League. But I just don't feel like his future is best for himself up here in a footballing respect. He might be settled up here and things like that with family and whatnot. But
I think his head's been turned, Carl. I really do.
I think there's a couple of really good Championship teams in there that could use Dwight Gale's services again to help him get into the Premiership, and hopefully he can have another crack at a Premier League run with a team that might depend on him a little bit more. Rob, I'll come to you. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I think it's within both the best interests of Gale and the club to move him on. I think that, we're in the Premier League now. We're an established Premier League club. We've got other strikers in the pipeline. We've seen Joe Linton put in a couple of decent performances. We've got Yoshinori Muto knocking on the door. Yeah.
It's not knocking very hard, Rob.
Yeah. We're seeing Gale go down the pecking order, which is nowhere near where he was 3 years ago. And, he's not, at the same time, he's not getting any younger. So it's best to move him on.
Yeah. Paul, I'll come to you. What would be the number to sell Dwight Gale for you? How many million would you be looking at to get rid of him? Because I know we've been linked with Jared Bowen, we've been linked with this Everton Morales lad from out in Brazil. Muto's been linked away. So what kind of number would you be looking for?
I think you've got to be looking at this moment. I think we could have sold for 15 million last summer. I think 10 million. At the end of the day, if you're Leeds United or if you're one of them clubs who are near the top of the Championship, would you invest £10 million in getting you those extra goals that could well make the difference? £10 million is quite a drop in the ocean to get those almost certain guarantee of goals. So I would think anything north of £10 million Newcastle would snap somebody's hand off, and then it's just a case of reinvesting.
Lee, for you, if we go 2-0 up in this game, do you think we'll pick up points if Gale puts us away?
I think the Gale chance come before Matty's, didn't it?
No, it's not that. It was just a couple of minutes after.
Oh, was it? I can't remember which one way it went. Possibly because you don't know what Man United sides are going to turn up. They're going on great form, and then they lose to Watford, and you're thinking it's not the old Man United of that. Paul probably grew with Sir Alex and all that in charge. Possibly, but we've seen it last year, that didn't work. But I think we would have at least got a point if we went 2-0 up.
I think heads would have dropped personally.
Heads would have dropped.
With the amount of pressure
and the fans.
But they said that last year when we went 2-0 up under Mourinho, and he was sacked just a few weeks later after the Liverpool game. So possibly, but I think we would have came away with something if we went 2-0 up. But your question, just to jump in with Gale, I would probably take about 10 million off him.
Fair enough. Rob, would you be looking at 10 million as well?
Yeah, I think 10 million is the ideal area. We got him for 12 million, am I right? You got him for 12 million. I'd say 8 at the very least.
Fair enough. We'll go back into the game though, because we've went on about Dwight Gale for a little bit. Well, lead didn't last very long. It would last at 7 minutes, and the ball falls to Martial, and to be fair, the shot on goal was nothing short of abysmal. I thought it was straight at the keeper. I thought it'd be just a very easy save for Dubravka, but it goes underneath him and it just beats him at the near post. I mean, don't get us wrong, Dubravka even yesterday made several saves. He saved with several times this season, and it won't be the last time he saves with. But I'll come to you, Paul. Do you think Dubravka should be doing better with this shot that put on him by Martial?
He should, but at the end of the day, like you said, he still does more times than Batman and Superman combined. So you've got to cut him a little bit of slack. Okay. There's probably a bit of nerves in it as well. You've got to think, Newcastle, in the position that we are, we take the lead, and then you're desperately probably trying to get to at least half-time with a clean sheet. So that probably played into it as well. Yes, it was disappointing. Yes, he should have done better, but I wouldn't be too critical of Dubravka because he saved us and he's earned us more points than he's lost us, certainly. But he will be disappointed with that, there's no doubt about it. But I wouldn't hold it against him.
Not long after Martial's goal, Man United take full advantage. They have a bit of fire under their bellies. So they're going up. They're really going for it. They're pressing would down at each opportunity. And Newcastle have a throw-in on the left-hand side, just in front of the manager's dugout. They throw it out, they pass it back. Lejeune plays it across the Cher, and I don't know what Cher's doing. A certain elegance to the pass to Greenwood, Lee. But, the proper messing about at the back. And Lee, I'll come to you as you were at the game. But what's going through his head when he's passing that out?
I mean, it's suicide, isn't it? Literally, Fabian Cher I know he scored against Everton, so he'll have some redemption. But he's been off the boil because he cost a goal the other week as well when he just literally came on at half time. The ball went over his head and that was his fault. I think it's just a bit of bad run of form. The first time that Fabian Cher's probably had a bad form at Newcastle, and he's probably come back out of it.
Yeah, he scored yesterday. And
I know he's not the only one. Mind,
I think for one of the goals yesterday too.
I think Flaming Lejeune's also having a bad time of late. I think he's playing too many games. I think
it's very unfair on him, mind.
No, I think he's bang out of form. He has come back. I think. Paul was saying this is played too many games for me, and he needs to just come out that side and come back in. But the problem that we'll have is the injuries, of course.
I think you can say the same for Cher though as well, or Shah, however you want to pronounce it, because I think at the highest level, with the concentration levels that's needed, playing in these Premier League matches, to play so many games so quickly together, that mental fatigue also comes into it. I mean, physically they must be exhausted, mentally to concentrate, because our defence is under pressure for so much because we have so little of the ball. And one slight mistake can be absolutely huge. You switch off for 1 second with the way that we just gift possession to the opposition, and it can result in a goal, and that's what it
Great
did.
finish, man.
So, yeah, to be fair, I would have liked to have been able to rotate more of the central defenders, give people a break, from the team. Dubravka, we said before, he's played every single game this season. Shah is after literally all hands to the pump at the moment, so I think there is a little bit of mitigating circumstances, and I'm sure 100% positive. I mean, the likes of Spurs are sniffing around Shah and stuff. I'm sure that he will come good again.
To be fair, Lee, you're right, it was a really good finish. Greenwood runs, 10, 15, 20 yards, and then smashes it into the off the top of the bar and in. Really good finish. That Mason Greenwood, very bright future. Man United, I think, very talented. Yeah, he's only 16, 17 years old.
18
Madness. He's, for a young lad, very, very talented, very fearless as well. And when you've got a fearless player, as Man United know some of the youngsters have had over the years, it goes a long way. Being fearless goes a long way when you're playing for a big club like Man United, for sure. But after all that, this first half still hasn't ended, because the third goal just before the break, for me, I mean, this is going to be a talking point. McTominay does foul Matty Longstaff. He dispossesses some of the ball. The ball goes out wide to Wan-Bissaka, who runs past Willems, no problem. A beautiful cross into the box to Marcus Rashford, who heads it beyond Dubravka's reach, and it goes 3-1 Man United before half time. And for me, that's game, set and match, job done. Just before the break, which is half breaking on our point, because it's a waste of a second half. But is that a free kick for you, Rob?
Nah, I'm sorry.
You don't? Why?
I just don't think it is. I think in any case, I think in terms of the goal itself, that's more looking at Man United's class, would you say? At least I just think it's a case of them better than us. And you can tell I don't blame them for not putting the ball out of play. It clearly wasn't a serious injury, because Matty was getting up, getting back onto his feet long before the ball went in. So, yeah, I have no complaints about it.
Personally, I think it was a foul. I know, Lee, you think it wasn't a foul either, but Paul, I'll come to you. Do you think it was a foul?
The thing is,
it's too soft.
It is a soft one. You've seen them given, but at the end of the day, you've got to play to the situation. And when you're playing away at Old Trafford,
McTominay has the ball. How's that a foul when he has the ball?
I'm sorry, but you do probably have to probably ask for more blood and guts, more thunder, more playing to the whistle, and defend for your lives. And we just didn't all over the place. Just such a disappointment.
Great cross, man. Wan-Bissaka was a hell of a cross and a great finish, but you've got to defend.
Fantastic plays.
Fantastic,
but you've got to defend properly.
Wan-Bissaka, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think it was a free kick, but comments that were no, do you think it was a free kick, or do you think it's just one of the many Christmas presents that we'll give Man United on Boxing Day? And finally, that wraps up the half.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been going on for a long time.
That was a pun. Well, Christmas little gift, and then you said that wraps
That
up.
wasn't an intentional fault. Trust me.
£1.
But that costs £1 more. So you're up to £23 now.
So it's £1 charged to me for pointing out the puns that you do.
I didn't intentionally put it, Rob. So
okay, in which case all 23 of my puns that you've counted have not been intentional.
I do not.
Now, children. Now.
Let's move on to the second half, shall we? I mean, I wasn't expecting much, but I wasn't expecting this. With Sean Longstaff having the ball in midfield, he plays it back to the defence. He massively overhits it. Such a shock to see. And Martial's through on goal, has an easy pickings at Dubravka, who Dubravka commits right and he chips it over the top of him. Nice easy finish, 4-1 Man United, and it's already wrapped up with 35. It was already wrapped up at half time, but this
that was the cherry on the cake, wasn't it?
Yeah,
for them, let's be honest.
After that, it was just an easy pickings for Man United. Man United dominance through the second half. But I want to go on to Sean's mistake because I've seen a few posts now on social media regarding Sean saying he's overrated, not as good as we thought. But I'm going to defend him. I'll defend him to my final breath. But the lad still needs breakout at the club, in terms of in the Premier League. And I think with the performances that he's had early on, it's kind of shot him in the foot because the man of the match performance against Man City, Burnley, all them at the back end of last season before he picked up his injury, he's kind of set a standard too high for himself in a way. And I think although mistakes like this are unforgivable and he does need to improve that, I do agree in terms of what Lee said on the in the videos after the Man United game. I do think he needs to improve in some regards, but I don't think we should get on the lads back too much. He shouldn't be made a scapegoat for anything. He's still learning his trade in football. He's had a lot go on in his first year, let's be honest. Couple of good games, linked for Man United straight away, major injury. He's had a huge year for his first breakout year.
And as he had a run of first 10 games this season.
He had a run of first 10 games.
At the end of the day, that is what you're going to need to get that consistency back. Yes, he was fantastic before the West Ham game. The injury come at the worst possible time after what Guardiola had said, etc. But the lad does need minutes. You can't expect somebody to jump in at that level.
Just needs an arm over the shoulder as well and a bit of support.
He'll get there, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think he will bounce back. Obviously, I was critical at him in Old Trafford. I said the performance for me is not standard of Newcastle United, and I'll stand by that because it just wasn't. It was diabolical, that performance. It wasn't just the only one. However, I do think he'll come back good, and I think he'll start against Rochdale. I know he'll come on that later with the teams and stuff, but it'd be nice to see him play a full 90 as well.
Yeah, he needs that for sure. But
I just want to say, like, to quote a great man, who told me recently, he will learn from that, and so you either win or you learn, you don't lose.
Spot on. Great man indeed, that is. But 3 individual errors in this game for me. Some could say 4. Rob, I'll come to you again. Have you ever known Newcastle to make that many individual errors in one game before? Because I haven't. Not even on Alan Pardew.
Not recently. And it was concerning, but at the same time, these guys are human. Are Man United a better team than us? Of course they are.
I mean, the money shows at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, they're higher than us for a reason. These are the sort of matches that you'd expect them to make the mistakes in, as long as you just don't make those sort of mistakes against those teams that are around you, like Everton, for example, which we'll get onto later.
Yeah, of course. But after the 4th goal, Man United had several chances. A one-on-one from Pogba, what was played through. I don't think he had enough time to control, but well saved by Dubravka. Rashford had a couple of shots saved. Greenwood had a shot saved before he went off. It was just pure
as well, didn't it?
Yeah, it was just pure Man United dominance. It could have been more, but Dubravka did keep the score down to his credit. Did make up for his mistake in the first half. And Lee, who of course was at the game, we'll have a clip with 40 giving their take, a fresh take from what their emotions were after the game. Go on, Lee, play the clip with your master computer thing.
3 in midfield that were tucked in, Shaw down that side, Wan-Bissaka down the other. In particular, Shaw first half, that killed it for us. That we lost the game because of that, and that they were really, really strong. Bruce got it wrong in that terms. The personnel, I can understand. There's a game 2 days later. There's rotation. I get that, but for me, we just got overrun, and I think a lot of players underperformed. But I also feel the tactics were wrong today. What would you give Bruce?
Well, you've just hit all the notes on the top of the head. again, three, maybe four. Sorry, but he did get it wrong. Been giving him praise when he has got it right. Previous game before, he's got it right. But this one, sorry, no. We should have set up, shot, defensive. I know it would have been looked boring, but we're here at Old Trafford. There's still a force to be reckoned
For
with.
me, he should have played with wingers.
Yeah, no width whatsoever.
2 up top against Man United with a rotated side is very, very brave. Or very, very stupid. And tonight, Steve Bruce coming back here, who's former ground, is very, very stupid. I'm going to score him a 2. What are you scoring him?
Well, I was giving him a 3, but now you're giving him a 2. Yeah, let's give him a 2. Sorry.
We're going to go 2 then.
Today was a lot better. It started off, thought it was going to be exactly the same.
What were your thoughts when you went 1-0 down?
The thing was, it was too easy for you because you could have scored just before that and you could have scored just after that, and you had two opportunities, and it was really easy for you to carve us open, I thought. And we were attacking a lot. We were leaving Lindelof and Maguire there, and it was almost you had 2 or 3 on 2 at times at the back, and it was really easy for you to open us up. And I also felt it was way too easy for you to defend against us as well, and that's been a problem for us up until we started pressing, started committing, started getting in your faces, because a lot of the goals came from mistakes for us today. Whether it was Martial, who, you know, the fourth goal, that he just picked up the ball off the defender, that was a mistake. I thought Mason Greenwood was incredible today. 18-year-old, I've seen Wayne Rooney come through here. I've seen many great youngsters come through, but that boy's got something about him.
He is a good talent.
And his finishing ability is incredible. And I just think we're seeing signs. But we see signs a lot. It's about consistency and how much we build on that. What I want to say to you, though, is Bruce is doing it, man. I know you got battered today, but
so learn get battered everywhere they go.
Brucey is doing it, and he was in for a lot of stick from your boys and from everyone, really.
I was one of them.
And I feel like he deserves a little bit more respect. He's not Rafa Benitez. We know that.
I think he's just starting to turn. Like, I was like, oh, Bruce, how are you, man? We're going from Rafa Benitez to Bruce. But fair play, we're sitting on Boxing Day. Yes, we got walloped the day. Mid-table, Boxing Day, Newcastle fans would have took that even under Rafa.
And I think he deserves a little bit more respect, Brucey. I love him. He's a good man. He's had a hard time over the years.
More respect for Bruce. Lee, I'll come to you. Do you feel Bruce deserves more respect? I know I've got this talking point later on after the Everton game, but I'll push it forward. And now, Lee, what do you think?
Yeah, because McCullough's talking big about him, isn't he? Yeah, he does.
He also said, I remember seeing a clip of him actually after they won a game at Norwich, I think it was, and he's jumping around saying David Moyes' Red and White Army or something. But I wouldn't always use Adam McCullough as the voice of reason, but do continue. Lee.
Well, he's a Man United legend, Brucey, playing days. So
you couldn't say Adam McCullough. I was going to say he's a good lad, but
no, McCullough's a lovely lad, sound lad. Yeah, he makes a point that Bruce is doing it for us, and he is. I know we've got a couple of defeats this week, which isn't great, but again, you snap your arm off. You probably take that with Rafa, that you're sitting mid-table, halfway to 50. So
I think Rafa will get a lot more praise, mind. If
I think Bruce, like I've mentioned that clip, I think Bruce is just starting to turn those doubters. Not everyone, but I'd probably say, if he gives us a percentage, I'd probably say 60-40 in his favour now.
Fair enough. Well, that's wrapping up like our stuff on Old Trafford. But one thing I would say is historically we've been awful at Old Trafford. Through the years, they've had some shocking teams, we've had some good teams. They've had the best team, we've had the second best team, or vice versa. And we've never ever been able to really pick up a win at Old Trafford. 2 wins since 1972, I think it is.
Johnny was there for one of them.
Johnny was there for one of them, but I don't think either were alive for the first one of the 2. But yeah, I think we just expected a little bit too much from this one. I mean, I know Solskjaer's team are a bit of a mess right now in terms of up and down consistency and not the standard of Man United, but I think we've just expected a little bit too much onto this one. And as we said at the time, we'll move on to Everton. But that ends part 1. I do want to plug the WhatsApp number that we'll have now, which you can text in to the Black and White Show. It is on screen now, just rolling across. It's at 074 7649 7166. If you want to text with, send me a question, wish for Happy New Year, whatever you want to do, just drop a text. And on top of that as well, actually no, that's about it. Part 1 will be, in part 2 we'll be speaking about Everton, and in part 3 and 4 will be on about the previews for Liverpool. I'm saying Liverpool, I'm not away with it. Leicester and Rochdale with an end of the decade review as well in part 4. So yeah, catch you in a few. couldn't put it better myself. But yes, welcome back to part 2 of the Black and White Show here on Nova Radio Northeast 102.5 FM. As Rob perfectly said, I'm your host, Kyle Thompson, and I'm joined by the lads at Newcastle Fans today, and with Paul, Lee, and Rob, which is it's always nice to have.
I like the latter.
You like the latter?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I like the last person you mentioned.
Right.
As well.
Okay. That's
I like it.
Well, that's good, Rob. At least someone likes you. No, I'm joking.
I feel like Kyle. I feel like you've been robbed.
Oh.
But free. I think you're on free, Lee. You're on free for your plunge on now. But,
you should have paused yesterday in the video.
It's
Oh yeah.
I need to watch it back. It's full time at Anfield. They beat Wolves 1-0 in the Premier League. A lot of doubt over VAR again. My mate was messaging us on the way to the show about this one, saying Liverpool strikes again. So yeah, you can leave to the imagination who he supports. He doesn't support Liverpool, that's for certain. But yeah, there was an offside goal or something like that. That should have
Very marginal. I've seen it.
Very skewed. I don't know much about this one, but yeah, Liverpool, the league says now.
The league said about VAR the better, because I think I put on Newcastle Fans TV earlier today. I think the VAR referee from yesterday was probably having a cuppa or doing the pots when he was watching the Newcastle game.
Well, we're about to go into washing the pots and
Deep
Lee Mason and all them. But I've seen a comment saying loving those old posters. Thank you. It's I went through all my old programmes and that's what I've picked out. I was quite in astonishment with what I managed to find actually. So yeah, I'm happy it's like it's something that is a new addition to the Black and White Show, because we've had a couple of comments recently saying it's a bit boring in the background and people are a bit sick of looking at Lawler's hat for a bit of entertainment. So yeah, it's just as well we've got these posters in and a couple of tops as well. But yeah, more on that as the weeks go on. But lads, the second game in this Christmas week, Everton at home, and going into this one, it was a hope to bounce back from the Man U stuffing at Old Trafford on Boxing Day, and I'm hoping we can. And I was hoping we could bounce back, especially with it being Jordan Pickford at Everton and how popular he is on Tyneside. But we actually started this game really well too. And Joelinton popping up again in my notes did really well. Had a couple of really good chances, albeit they were straight at Jordan Pickford, but he was causing problems. He was causing Michael Keane some havoc. And over the last 2 games, I'd probably say he's been with standout player. I've seen a couple of people on Twitter say he's been one of our better players in the last 2 games as well. Leo, come to you. What do you think of Jordan the past 2-3 games?
Yeah, he's definitely been a lot more up for it. I've said this for a couple of weeks now. I don't like it when he has his back turned to goal. I hate it. Because even when he was
I said this last week with mine.
Even when he was playing out wide, I don't like it. I don't like having to turn around, run at him, man. It's a big powerful unit, and we've seen it spells. I don't think he's fully there, but it's a lot more promising. I mean, with the game against Everton, he was on the right wing and he burst past 2 players. Like, blimey hell, who's this? We've got a new player here. And I looked at you and who's this?
That's been
who's this £40 million player?
Yeah, green shoots of recovery possibly shown from Joelinton, but I think it's like I say, it's important always to remember.
Goal.
Get the right way. And I always remember what Alan Shearer said when Bobby came in.
Yeah, I said this last week.
And just these small little tweaks and changes and getting you into different positions and getting you, we're literally facing the right way, and what a difference that can make. So Joelinton was absolutely fantastic again yesterday, and let's hope this is the beginning of the road to recovery and the road to redemption.
Yeah, for me, this is what he needs to do. If he's not scoring goals, I know you get a lot of fans saying, "Oh, but he's a striker, he needs to score goals." Well, yes, of course, but if he's not scoring goals, then you need to do the dog work. You need to do all the little jobs. And when Rondon wasn't scoring goals last season, he was doing these jobs really well. He was holding the ball. He was bringing other people into play, making other players look good around him. And I think he doesn't get much credit, but I think Andy Carroll next to Joelinton really helps Joelinton a lot. Even when he's winning the ball in the air. I know he set a record actually, Carroll, for winning the most aerial duels in one game since Opta started the stats in 2007.
I've got a stat for you actually, Kyle. Do you know Joelinton's the one who's won the most headers out of the Newcastle players this season?
Yeah, that's because Andy Carroll hasn't played every game, to be honest. But yeah, I think we need to see more of this from Joelinton, because I was really, really happy to see that from him. As you can see on screen, if you're watching it on YouTube or any other social media platform, there's the starting lineup. But if you're on another radio, Dubravka, Yedlin, Shea, Fernandez, Lejeune, Williams, Shelby, Hayden, Almiron, Jordan, and Andy Carroll. Same kind of side that played Crystal Palace the previous Saturday, with DeAndre Yedlin coming in for the injured Manquillo, who only could make the bench. But lads, on to the controversial stuff. And I'll come to you straight away, Paul, because we're going to be going on about Lee Mason just a little bit.
Keep it clean.
Everton's first
Deep breaths.
Everton's first goal. Now, I don't know how, but how was this corner given? Like, seriously, like I've argued with a couple of people after me quick thoughts saying it was a free kick, possibly a free kick to Everton. Like,
well,
you could probably give that, but the corner.
It's unforgivable. At the end of the day, I mean, I put the clip on Newcastle Fans TV earlier on today, and Mr. Magoo, sitting in the Leeds as level 7, could have seen that. You know, and if you look at the body language of the players as well, the players run away as if we're going to get ready for a goal kick. The only person in the entire ground who thinks that that's a corner is him. And I just cannot believe for a second. And then you've got another referee, who's sitting, watching it from, wherever, who's also doing nothing about it. And it comes to me, these words, clear and obvious, keep getting used. If that isn't clear and obvious to Mr. Magoo in level 7, the referee, the line or the VAR ref, then I don't know what is. I think the quality of refereeing, the standards has gone down, year after year. And at the moment, it is on the floor. I used to complain about the likes of Uriah Rennie and co, but they would be absolutely gods in this current refereeing pool compared to the likes of what we got now. And even last season, same fixture, the refereeing is absolutely shocking. I mean, it wasn't just a slight glance. It couldn't be something that you could misjudge or missee. It was as clear as day. And these fine margins define these games in the Premier League. It is small margins. And he has technically cost us at least a point, because that goal, the lead up to the goal, everything else, I know you should defend better and this, that and the other, but that decision was completely wrong, and the VAR referee got it wrong as well. Disgusting.
Yeah, I completely agree. From this free kick, the initial shot goes straight into the wall, back to Gylfi Sixton. He plays it across, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, to his credit, finishes really well and celebrates in front of the Gallagher end, which was met with very popular gestures towards him. But the Everton go 1-0 up, and I felt so unjust from this, man, because it wasn't a corner. I didn't think it was a free kick either. I'll stand by what I think with that. I still think it was a free kick because Almiron had all eyes on the ball, and Leighton Baines can see Almiron coming towards him, and he lifts and he jumps up with knees high, and Almiron runs into him from a jump and goes down. I think it's a free kick. If not a free kick, definitely play on. Do you know what I mean? So I think we'll have every right to feel unjust from this one. Lee, what do you think of this one? Do you think a free kick could have been given, or the corner? Does he need some glasses?
It's a second phase. So I'm not too bothered more about the corner. I know it was the wrong decision because other stuff happened later towards that goal. So the free kick's questionable in itself. The Almiron one, where it's like a coming together with Baines, well, there's someone asleep in the marking, and that's what I want to pick up, is because there's 3 Everton forwards, midfielders, whoever it was, and there's only 2 of our defenders. So someone's not followed their man, and Fernandez is not there, so maybe it's him. I haven't looked at it properly, but there's 3 against 2 from 6 yards out.
Might want to bring them rating the goals back, Lee.
It's if you got 3 against 2 out from 6 yards out, it's only going to end up one way, and then it's scored. So someone hasn't tracked the man there.
Yeah.
That's more alarming for me.
To be fair though, despite this unjust decision from the referee or Mark and whatever it may be, we did actually respond to this really well. We had a couple of really good chances. Fabian Schär had a good shot save from Jordan Pickford. I didn't know what to call him there, from a couple of nicknames to his actual name. Almiron had a shot, had a couple of chances actually. He had one that went wide into the Leeds end. He also hit the inside of the post, and Andy Carroll was there to tap it in, but he was offside. We had a couple of good chances, lads, but we didn't take any of them. And we could have said this about Man United as well, where we just didn't take our chances. We could have got results if we had have took our chances. If we could have had 2 points, maybe even 4 to 6 if we had took our chances. But we just didn't take our chances. And does this need to be better, Lee?
The first 20 minutes, it was all Everton, and it was quite difficult to watch that.
Oh, apart from the first minute or two.
Yeah,
we had
we're
that
starting
Joe Linton and
off.
the penalty situation where Miggy could have had a penalty.
Bruce wanted that as a penalty. Then we had a graphic on screen before. Carroll one's more of a penalty. We'll come on that shortly.
Yeah.
But it was literally it was a game of two sections in that first half. It was all Everton. It was training past, and it was easy for them when they were moving side to side. It was far too easy, and then a slight tweak, and we're starting to get momentum. We're pepping, and I said to you in our videos, Paul, is that I quite enjoyed the last 20 minutes because I've never seen Newcastle pep out a goal so much.
And
the
the
whole
noise,
of the season,
the noise as well, the noise around the stadium as well.
You touched upon Kyle about Carroll and Joe Linton benefiting. There's a player suffering from this change of formation, and that's Isaac Hayden.
What makes you think that?
Where's he been since the formation has changed? He's gone.
For me,
if he's the one who's
Hayden,
suffering a little bit, I think he's better in a 2 rather than a 3.
For me, I think Hayden blossoms when he's a foil for a creative midfielder, getting in the tackles and things like that. And he's got the capability of getting 40. Salah said this to Paul while the match was on. He's a bit like a Fabian Delph, where he's a bit of a tenacious midfielder. He's very hard working, can get a pass, can nick you a goal or two a season, but more defensively on the side of the ball. I'd say Isaac Hayden was more of an influence on the team, should we say. But I don't think it's a case where he's suffering there. I just think it's a case where he's just going through a bad bit of form.
For me, the first one is played out when we first changed. It was on the right centre midfield and was trying to tuck in as much as I can. But then the Man United game, it was Matty's turn to play there. I thought he was overrun with Luke Shaw. And then yesterday, Isaac Hayden was very, very quiet. Normally you see Hayden crunching 4 or 5 people, dominant and sitting there. And I think he's suffering in this. It might be a bit of bad form, like Fabian Schär, like
do you think it's frailties in the tactics? Like,
you're trying to get the best out of Almiron, but then I think Hayden's suffering a little bit. Yeah, I do. Might be a leggy, maybe miss a form, but Hayden's form's definitely dropped.
What do you think, Rob? Do you agree with me on this one, or do you just think it's a bit of form?
I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest.
Okay. Paul?
I think with Hayden, he's quite masterful at one thing, and that is it. And I think if you're trying to get him to do another job in the team, I think that shows his limitations, and then that sort of exposes him, and probably the reason why Arsenal moved him on when they did. He is good at that one thing, and that breaking up of the play, that jumping in, that trying to protect the back line. And if you ask him to do anything else, he starts to show for what he is, and his issues and his fragility in other areas of the game. So we do need to find a way to get the best out of him, because there's no doubt that when he's there and he's operating in front of the defence, we look a much, much better unit. He looks a better player. But like Lee said, the key is when you've got Miggy and ASM, they could arguably be our 2 best players. So we put a lot of money into them. So again, we need to see the best out of them as well. So it is difficult, but I just think Hayden is a player with limitations, and you can't expect him to do much more. He's not like a Rob Lee who could do a couple of different things, or I don't know, a Gary Speed. He's a much more one-dimensional player than those two.
Well, Paul, we've actually got a WhatsApp message, the first one on the Black and White Show, and it's from Steve from Leicester Rochdale. So hello, Steve. Thanks for getting involved with the show. Would you sell Key, Gale, Mutu for money to come in? But he has his only loans coming in January. But would you sell Key, Gale, and Mutu for money to buy players?
Easy. Because at the end of the day, what have they contributed? Whether it's because of the form, whether it's because of how they play, whether it's Bruce's choice to not have them in, what have they contributed to Newcastle? Very, very little. I remember him, Key down at Norwich was absolutely atrocious. Gale obviously hasn't scored any goals this season, and I think his head's been turned.
How much would you get for them? Because Key's run out of contracts.
I think Key, I think
10, Key $1 million, if you can try and squeeze $1 million.
I think you might get $1 million, one and a half million.
So 15 million for the 3?
Yeah, I think that's all you're
going
to
reinvest that into someone else.
Key,
I don't think
maybe
you'll get anything for Key. I think it'll be a free transfer.
Well,
Key will go up to
he's heavily linked with
Celtic, isn't it?
You need a bit of callback, you need a bit of Savay.
For me, I think all 3 should be out the door, because Mutu hasn't had a look in. Gale is clearly not rated. I know Bruce has said, "Oh, try to sign him 3 times." He's not rated.
Yeah, you can say what you want, can't you? But
Joelinton
proof's in the
up until the
pudding.
last couple of games has been horrendous, and he's still managed to make the squad and things like that. I know there's a massive talk about Joelinton. You could probably have a black and white show all about Joelinton on his own. But for me, if Joelinton's not, for the most part, not delivering on what he's supposed to be doing, and Gale's still kind of getting to that team, he's clearly not.
Yeah.
He's clearly not.
And I
rated
think
for
these
me.
games as well, Kyle, that we've just had recently, prove the fact that the squad isn't good enough. We've got some great players for the first team, and when everybody's fit and firing, which is what we had under Rafa a lot of the time, a lot of the squad was available. We're capable of doing decent stuff. But as soon as any of those major first team players are out, the players who come in are inadequate or championship quality. You look at the likes of Atsu and co. And ultimately, we need to get rid, and I'd rather get rid of 5 or 6 of the players who aren't doing much and not involved, and bring in 2 or 3, because then 2 or 3, at least they're going to be Bruce picks and Bruce players, and he will include them, and they're going to offer something to us this season.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather them do that and then include the likes of Sorensen as well.
Well, we actually got that question at the right time. Cheers, Steve, for your message coming in. But I'm going to go on about the second half now, the Everton game, and we did need this goal very badly. I think we had a couple of chances. We were knocking on that door, but they weren't coming through. And we actually, with one of the few free kicks that we managed to win yesterday, we actually managed to convert from it. Williams with an unbelievable free kick into the box, lovely, beautiful floated cross into Andy Carroll. Carroll knocks it down, and on the volley, beautiful from Fabian Shaw, showing that elegance once again. And even though he's at the back recently, Lee, fantastic finish by Fabian Shaw.
Yeah, we all thought it was Fernandes, didn't we? We all mistaken identity. But
I like how you went to Lee there straight away on the show.
It's got to.
It's got to.
He just elegantly put it away. Credit to Andy Carroll, though. That's 3 assists since he's come back in the lineup. And
he's our leading scoring, or Shad, this calendar year.
That's mental, isn't it?
6 goals?
Yeah, 6 goals. That now puts him joint 49th in our list of Premier League goal scorers.
Just off the top of your head like that.
49th.
But Andy Carroll is joint with which other player at the top of the assists? There's a quiz question for you.
Oh,
So
Rob,
Carroll has 3.
We're going to get the whiteboards back.
Who else? They're down there, aren't they? Over there. Who else? Quiz question. We'll come back to that. Let us know in the comments. Who else has 3 assists with Andy Carroll? And it's probably a player you're not thinking of. There's a clue.
Ooh,
Carry on, Kyle.
For me, I
think I know. Sorry, Kai.
Go on, Rob.
Is it Federico Fernandez?
Shall we just give it everyone now?
It's Christian Atsu.
It is Christmas.
Ah.
It's Christian Atsu, yeah. It's Atsu. He's got 3 with Carroll.
I remember saying that to Paul, and Paul being like in disbelief about what I just said. But yeah, Atsu has 3 assists.
Taxi for Atsu.
But after this second goal, I thought we could really push on, and we did look in the ascendancy a little bit. Although Everton were catching a little bit, we were pushing forward, we were putting them under a lot of pressure, and we had a little bit of a flurry where we were running forward and trying to get the ball back. And Miggy did this 100-yard dash where he was trying to get the ball, which was fair play to him, but the ball goes to Andy Carroll in midfield, and I don't know what he's doing, because it's one pass, just one, from going out wide to Willems, and Willems is on the run, has a brilliant opportunity to make it 2-1 Newcastle. He loses the ball. Walcott drives forward, plays in Rickarlson. Rickarlson has an easy pass across the box. Calvert-Lewin punishes work in and to make it 2-1, and I couldn't believe it, because Everton had scored at the best time for them. We were in the ascendancy. The crowd were getting behind the team. It was all going good for a win, and they just
sucker punch.
Sucker punch. And Paul, I seen in one of the videos yesterday that you critique the defence a little bit on this one. I'm trying to actually understand this one, because we had bodies forward and we lost the ball due to a centre forward losing it in the middle of the park, and it was a 3-on-2 situation. I don't know how a defender would be at fault for that one, if I'm honest.
To me, you need to be concentrating on what's going ahead and reacting, and it just seemed too slow, too lethargic, getting back into position.
There is someone at fault for the goal.
And at the end of the day, again,
it's Fabian Shaw again. It's Calvert-Lewin's man.
It was 3-on-2 though.
It is, but
we said that in the third, wasn't it?
We said that it's a counter-attack goal. Carroll gives the ball. Yes, you say Andy Carroll, you give it away. Now defend it. Fabian Shaw is just asleep. Calvert-Lewin's a little bit of movement behind
They're
it.
so exhausted and fatigued.
And there's a tapping. So
they looked like their attackers looked more energised to deal with that situation now with defence did.
Possibly the Ancelotti effect, isn't it?
You couldn't ask for 3 worse players to catch one the break. Well, Walcott, Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin are all very quick players, and I didn't think it was anybody else.
Well, I think it's naive then. It's naive then that you're leaving yourself exposed to that situation. You had a key point of that game, and it is naive to go in and thinking.
Well, I think the key point is somewhere else, which I'm sure Kyle's going to come up shortly.
But for me, this score's very reminiscent of their 125th anniversary game against Leicester, where we had a bit of a flurry and we got caught out in the last second. And I know we pointed at Darlow at some back in the day.
Was that Perez when he's like tracking back?
Yeah.
It was.
That was that back in the day. It's very similar to that. It's just a case where we pushed forward a bit too much, got a bit excited, lost the ball, and it's just one of them things that happens, to be honest. But that's 4 individual errors over the Christmas. That's in my opinion. Anyway, you could say 5 with McTominay and Matty Longstaff thing, or the Carroll thing, whatever.
It's too many, whatever it is. Way too many.
It could be 3 to 5. Whatever opinion you may have for that, it could be 3 to 5 individual errors over the Christmas.
And you got to think yourself, Kieran Clark very rarely makes errors as well.
No, we've missed him terrible.
He very rarely. I know Dummett has earlier on the season, but Kieran Clark very, very rare. And to be fair with Lascelles, he might do 1 a season, but that'll be it.
I think we've missed Lascelles terribly. Yeah. I know when he first got injured, a lot of people were like, he's the worst centre back. No. Lascelles for me is
he's not the best ball playing centre back, but he's the best in terms of
leadership,
what you're
organisation.
Doing. Kick your such and such in.
He knows how to mobilise his defence.
Motivate as well.
Strong, physical, great in the air. We don't have many problems on set pieces when Lascelles is defensive.
And then normally you've got Matt Ritchie. He's barking out instructions. Lascelles is barking out instructions. We've missed these leaders and these men amongst men.
Like a Rottweiler and a German Shepherd together. Isn't it? Well, I wouldn't say Ritchie's like that. Maybe a Chihuahua.
to Bruce's credit, though, I know we've had tactical friendly conversations in this show, but he tries to change it up and he tries to go 4-4-2. But he makes 2 changes, and honestly, the motivation I have when you see Christian Atsu and Dwight Gale strip off to come on and try and change the game. With the seasons that these lads have had and how out of favour and unfancied they've been from the management this season, for them to come on and be expected to make an impact, I just think, if you're an Everton fan watching, you're just thinking that's...
You're putting your hands together, aren't you?
You
can't believe your luck.
Mm-hmm. Like, I do think that in terms of effort, Atsu and Gale are very good players. They're very good squad players, but when you're chasing a game and you look to get back into it, they're just...
Well, Atsu played 3 positions, didn't he? When he came on,
it was only 2. I thought he played.
That what you call it?
I thought he played on the wing.
And then he was in centre of the field for a few minutes, and then he went to left wing back.
I thought he played left wing back. So he played on the right wing and then left wing back, which was bizarre to me. But you kind of copped in there because you've said previous on this show that you'd like to see Atsu
on away games.
I think
Atsu's better for defensively than what Almiron is for staying back. Almiron does track back, but
I really disagree.
Going forward, I think Almiron's all better. I think Atsu, like I said numerous of times, I think Atsu, when he's in his 30s, will play left back because his legs will go.
Hopefully not for Newcastle.
Not for Newcastle, no. But I think once his legs go, that you'll still get the dog work. How old is he now?
He's about 4 because that's what he looks like in comparison. You get all these nowadays, these athletes, and they're built and they're huge, and then you see Atsu next to him, and he looks about 4. And if you're an opposition player seeing Atsu come off the bench, you're having a laugh with your mate next to you. You said, we've won this one. They're bringing Atsu off the bench, lads. Come on. We saw it, we're fine. It just shows the fragility of
I think he's the type of player, if you're winning 1-0, bring him on, isn't it? If you're losing 1-0, you don't want to bring him on.
I was the one critique I said yesterday.
But that's a squad balance, though. It's not just
the thing is, it's not like Atsu doesn't have it in him. Because I remember when he came on at Tottenham, everyone's like, "Oh my god, what's he going to do?" He set up the goal for Jordan.
But he's way too inconsistent.
He's got it in him. Like Atsu on his day can't do it. It's just not enough.
The problem, Carl, yesterday was looking at that bench, and you've got Kraft as a right back, and you've got Manquillo. Manquillo's injured as a right back. Why wouldn't you have a move 2-1? Yes, he said maybe turn, he may be going elsewhere. He's still an attacking option in case you're chasing the game. It gives you something totally different to what an Atsu does. And the critique I had yesterday with Steve Bruce was the structure of the bench. You've got these players on decent money, the Newcastle players, they've registered. Get them involved and let's see what they can do, because against Manchester United last season, moved to look good. He's looked good in spells. He's never had a run in the team, and we're going to end up selling him in January, and we'll never know, and it'll be another Tovan situation or something.
Well, we've had a comment in live chat from John B saying Atsu is the worst player this season. Emil Kraft is a thing, so I don't think it's quite that bad.
It's close.
He is in the bracket of like one of the worst players. Even though he's got 3 assists this season and he has had one or two okay performances, it's just I don't know. It's just Atsu's not on that. I mean, he hasn't had the December that he always has. Has he?
And you look at when he's been at other clubs, he just never ever quite made the grade. Even was he at Everton? He was at another club as well. He's just never ever made the grade. At the end of the day, I think when we were in the Championship, he was okay. But this is reminiscent of the fact that when you become a Premier League squad, you need to start rebuilding and refreshing, and we just haven't done that.
Well, after Everton score their goal, we have one golden chance, and it's a penalty that's ruled out. And I've seen this over and over again, and I honestly do not know how this isn't given. It's absolutely criminal how this isn't given. The ball goes in, and Mina just pushes Andy Carroll to the deck. Sidibe, sorry, just pushes him to the deck. And lads, can you give us a reason how this wasn't given? Because I can. Because the VAR referee must have been, like I said, must have been having a pot noodle at the time or something. Because how you can't see that is how you can't see that.
Anything else?
Well, it might be having something else.
Beef and tomato, hasn't he?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, how you can't see that, we were sat in the Gallagher corner. It was right in front of us, and it was obvious. And Carroll's come out and he said, every week I get pushed, hit, kicked, all sorts, and I get nothing. If I even sneeze, it's a free kick for the opposition. And it is, the treatment that Andy Carroll's been getting is disgusting. Yes, we do play along to him a lot, and this, that, and the other. But if you just looked at how he fell, he flew in a different direction on the floor. And everyone, like I say, going back to Mr. Magoo in level 7 down at the Millburn, even he's shouting and screaming.
Mr. Magoo, like.
Even he can see that is a penalty.
Like from level 7.
Yeah. Well, obviously Mr. Magoo's blind, isn't he? But apart from that, even he could see that, and it was absolutely disgusting. At this point, I'm wanting to go on a rampage, and I understand how frustrating it must be for the likes of Andy Carroll, because it must affect his game. Because he's sitting there thinking, I can't even sneeze in the box because I won't get a decision.
I'm trying to think, why has he not given it? That's one. I know it's a blatant penalty, but the only thing, and I'm going to take off Newcastle, loyalties here, is the only thing.
It's not the heart.
Well, the only thing I can think of is that he's over exaggerated. That he hasn't.
No.
Let us finish on this. That's the only thing that I can think that Lee Mason's thinking, well, Adam, you've over exaggerated there. We all know it's a blatant penalty, but
he's biased.
That's the only thing that I can
he's biased.
Think like that, because it's a blatant penalty. Sidibe puts 2 hands on his back like that. It's not the strongest push, yes, we know that. But Andy Carroll's
jumping in mid-air,
facing his back towards goal, he's in mid-air and he's pushed. And when you're in mid-air, it just needs a slight nudge to knock you off balance. So it's a blatant penalty, and that is a shocking. VAR would have looked at that. I know, Rob, you think you haven't, but I think VAR would have looked at that and said no penalty, and that's a disgrace.
It is. Disgraceful.
Well, that was the last kind of thing of the game before it went full time. We've actually got some interview comments from a collective of Steve Bruce, Fabian Scher and DeAndre Yedlin. So Lee, I'll let you play the clip.
The crowd were absolutely fantastic, and they're backing towards the team, and how great it was to see a full St James's. It was great. It was just a disappointment that we didn't get the result, which of course we would all liked, and even if we had to come away with a draw over the beer tonight, they might have thought, like I think, that was the fair result.
I think we knew the first 20 minutes were not really good, so we have to show a reaction, and you can see how hard we want to get something here at home. After the rest of the 70 minutes, we gave everything, and I think we would deserve more than what we got.
We put in a great effort. You can't fault that for sure, and got ourselves back into the game, and we're trying to push forward for it, and they obviously hit us on the counter, so that was a bit disappointing. But no, I definitely think we deserved a lot out of the game, or at least more than we got.
Well, to wrap up on this one, for me that was the worst referee performance I've seen since Keith Stroud in the Championship, or the Henry Lansbury game where he got 2 penalties off with, and we got 2 red cards in the first half. It was just so bad. It seemed so biased at times. Some of the free kicks they won was just outright.
He couldn't even draw a straight line on the floor.
Exactly. There was a free kick, right? I don't know if everyone's seen, but he put the line the wrong way. If the players had
was it not for the goal that happened? Because it was in that area.
I think it was just before the goal.
Right.
Absolutely mental, man. Like, you can't even draw a straight line. I was saying, do you need a ruler?
Look at the substitution when you're supposed to go off the nearest one, and he walks to the halfway and wastes another minute.
Is that Leighton Baines?
There was the sub that I think it was Leighton Baines. But there's time and time again, he just didn't know the rules. It's unbelievable, and you've got somebody watching this.
Yeah, it's absolutely abysmal refereeing. It really is. They need to improve the standard, not just of VAR, but of refereeing in this country as well, because for the top level, for the best league in the world, Neil Warnock summed it up perfectly, saying we've got the best league in the world, but the worst officials. And that's it. That's it in my book. Before we end this part of the show, though, 20 games have been played, lads. We've got 25 points. We're mid-table. How do you feel so far about Steve Bruce? Rob?
We're above Arsenal.
We're above Arsenal. If someone says, "Oh, you'll be above Arsenal in the new year," I would have thought we'd be a bit higher than 11th.
I know that, halfway through the season, that could definitely change come the end of the season, but being above Arsenal feels so sweet. Honestly, the treatment of Arsene Wenger, I still feel really bitter towards them about. They've got the comeuppance for what they did to Wenger. But as for Steve Bruce, he's done everything and more that we all expected of him to do. I've always been one to. I will judge him based on his results, on his what he gets at Newcastle United, and I will ignore his past. I can't fault the man, especially under the difficult circumstances that he came into.
Paul, I'll let you very briefly sum up Steve Bruce, because I know you could.
I could go on for this for a while.
I know you could have a podcast with this one.
He's ahead of the ratio. I always think if you're ahead of a point per game. If you're ahead of that ratio, it's going to keep you up. He's on that. Disappointed in the cups. I hope he takes the FA Cup seriously. I would love a cup run, please. I remember the 99s and all that when we were getting to cup finals and all that. So that's going to be a big thing for me as well, how he takes the cup. But he's ahead of the ratio that I've got on my head for Premier League survival. And I think given the tools that he's been doing at his disposal, bearing in mind the ratio, he's doing a decent job.
And Lee, I'll let you wrap up this one. What do you think?
I've said that Mike Ashley's name's not getting sung much because of the great job that Steve Bruce is doing. But clubs down the other end of the road are calling for their owner to go out all of a sudden. So sorry lads, I had to get that one. I had to get that little dig in. But Mike Ashley's name's not getting sung. However, because Steve Bruce is doing a great job, and I'll reiterate, another club down the road sitting in the lower end now of League One in the bottom half, want the owner out after some fantastic business last year.
Mr. Donaldson. That club?
Having a dig at the rivals is a great way to end part 2. In part 3, we're going to cover the upcoming games against Leicester and Rochdale respectively. If you don't already know, you can email the Black and White Show on contact NFTV at studio. Contact NFTV studio at Gmail, as well as giving us a ring as well, which is going up over the top of the screen. And we'll speak to you in a few minutes. part 3 of the Black and White Show on No Radio Northeast 102.5 FM. I'm your host, as usual in this show, Kyle Thompson. I'm joined by Lee, Rob and Paul. And in this part we're going to be on about the games coming up. We've got Leicester on New Year's Day and we have Rochdale on the 4th of January in the FA Cup as well. And we're going to be going through them both as a preview, because I think both are going to have different squads and I think both are going to have different looks going into it. Obviously with one top end of the Premier League and the other one, like Sunderland, in the lower end of League One. But lads, we'll go on to Leicester first, and this is one that I'm really not looking forward to because they've just taken a hammering off Liverpool. So they're going to be wanting to bounce back in the best way, and they've got to come up to bonny old Newcastle to get a result. So we could either feel the wrath or add to the pain. Lee, what are your initial thoughts on this one?
Petrified. They've rested 9 players and they still beat West Ham. 9 players.
It's not hard. I mean, West Ham.
I don't care. And if you rest,
rightly sacked.
David Moyes is coming back.
Yeah, Moyes is coming back. But to rest 9 games in any Premier League game, whether it's Watford or Norwich, is very, very brave. And they've came away. The reserves have come away. That's probably me being a little bit disrespectful, but the reserves have come out and grabbed themselves 3 points. So they've had a tough couple of games. Manchester City and Liverpool didn't get any points there. I think we'll finish in the top 4. The one bright thing, I know we got walloped 5-0 away from home, but at home, our weakened side drew with them 1-1, and I know we went to penalties, we got put out, but that gives me a little bit of hope. But I'll grab a point if you offered it right now. I would take a point right now if you offered it to us.
Well, we've got another WhatsApp message from Sharon from Blythe. So hello, Sharon. A quick question saying, are you fearing going out the FA Cup with a suspected weakened side? Paul?
Mm-hmm. There is no way that we should be going out at all, weakened side or not, against Rochdale. I lived through the Stevenage
the first Stevenage.
Yes, the Stevenage. And then obviously Yedding and the likes. So you know it can happen, but the fact that we've got a League One team, our quality should show. No matter who plays for Newcastle, it should show. Would I take a 1 or a 2-0? Yeah, of course I would. I just want to be in the hat for the next.
You just want to get freedom. You don't care about the performance.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I've said all along, I am desperate for a cup run. We have been starved of it. And then again, back in yesteryear, we used to do well in the league and in the cup. And I think we're sitting on 25 points. We can afford to take the cup seriously.
It is going to be a full strength team though that plays against Swan New Year's Day because of the heavily rotated squad that they had. But speaking of heavily rotated squads, I think we're going to have one as well, because Joelinton, Lejeune, Cher, Manquillo, they're all carrying knocks at the minute, all playing through injuries, and with this period of Christmas, they're really struggling. And I don't know what kind of squad we're going to have, but I'll come to you, Rob, first before I go around the table. Would you persist with risking a couple of these players, or would you look to would you persist risking the players playing again and risking injury, or would you look to rotate with a couple of fringe players coming in? Because it's the likes of Key, Gale, Atsu, all the likes that haven't really had chances. I mean, there's reasons, but I'll let you answer.
Yeah, I think we've got to rotate. I don't think there's any option. But like what Paul says, we are in a healthy league position, so much so that we can afford to make a cup run. Sacrifice 1 or 2 league matches between now and the rest of the season, by all means. I'm not sure how severe Joelinton's knock is, but I would say
he was going on about Steve Bruce a couple of times yesterday.
Yeah, play him against Rochdale, leave him out against Leicester, play him against Rochdale, let him grab 1 or 2 goals to get his confidence up. Same thing with ASM in the hope that he'll be back.
No, he's not going to be back to mid-January.
No, mid-January.
Okay.
Like Richie.
Yeah, long shot. Yeah, it's rest players, but also I think for the Rochdale game you need a good balance between first team and under 23s.
Well, that's something that we'll be discussing later on. Paul, what would you do? Would you look to risk a couple of players against Leicester, or would you Would you play a couple of fringe players or maybe even a couple of under-23s?
I'm worried about this Leicester game, and I'm worried about Jose Perez coming back to haunt us. I'm worried about like Vardy. I'm worried about how they play, and I'm worried about our percentage stats, and I'm worried about taking a bit of a beating, to be honest. Like Lee said, if you'd offered me a point now, I'd absolutely snap and break your hand off clean just to get that point.
Make sure to make Ashley's hand then.
Yeah, yeah, and his leg. But yeah, I'm really, really fearful. I would like to play a decent team against Rochdale. I think again against Leicester it's going to be a patched up side. Will the likes of Kieran Clark possibly just make it? I would like to see somebody like him back or a Dummett back, just so we can take the likes of Lejeune out and give him a rest. I think he needs a rest for a game or two, given the fact that he's played so many games in a short period of time. But
it's shown as well. I thought calvert-lewin had his life yesterday.
It has, and I think if we can just get through this Leicester game without taking an absolute mauling, then go into the Rochdale game, and I think the likes of the Longstaff brothers have to start. I'd maybe have Sorensen on the bench if we can have Sorensen on the bench. Kieran Clark, Paul Dummett, Carl Darlow's going to get a run out. Kraft is probably going to get a run out against Rochdale, I'm sad to say. And I think like Williams again could probably do with a breather for that one. But and we've got some good under 23 players. I think who can be at least on the bench. So if things are going well and we say 1 or 2 goals up, bring on the likes of, was it Lewis Cass and stuff like that you said it was back. Some of the players who were doing Callum Watts, players who were doing well at under 23, reward them by having them on the bench. But ultimately, with the likes of the Longstaff brothers in, Dwight Gale up top, who's prolific in the Football League pyramid, we should have more than enough to be able to safely get into the next round, and then let's hope for another good draw.
Well, before that, we've got an email. Jack Chaters came through. Which of the under 23 lads would you like to see feature against Rochdale, Lee?
I wonder why that's came to me. Callum Watts, if he's fit, because he's back from Stevenage. Tom Allen, he's banging the goals in for the under 23s. He's getting double figures. Sorensen's obviously the obvious one. I'm not so sure that Bruce will have loads of them in. I think he'll play the likes of Mutu, Gale, 1 or if not 2 of the Longstaffs.
I'd have them on the bench.
You might even change the system. I know Carl Doll will definitely play.
I don't think he'll play 5 at the back with
No.
Rochdale. Nah.
So, well, I know you probably want to talk about Rochdale in a minute, but I think the Leicester one, Vardy loves a goal against us. And he'd be back because he missed the game against West Ham.
Well, they've scored 6 past us this season.
Because of the birth of his little one, so he missed the game and he's fresh. Madison, Tielemans, that Soyuncu looks like a newborn player. I don't know what Brendan Rodgers is feeding him, but there's loads of them. That Leicester side is so strong, and if we can say outplay the full strength of Leicester, Rochdale, the question earlier on, I am a little bit fearful that it's a massive banana skin in the lower end of League One, but for Leicester, I'll go full strength as much as we can. I know there's a doubt of John Linton, I know there's a doubt of Fabian Schär's injury, but you've got to play your best and hopefully get a point at least from that game.
Well, they do have loads of threats, as you've all said. Vardy, Tielemans, Perez. I mean, he could come back to haunt we yet. I'm just fearing he's going to score on the Gallagher and do that there.
Oh, the white
which would really, really annoy me, if I'm honest. So if you're listening, Perez, be nice if you score on New Year's Day, will you? I don't want to start the year on a win, but like we said, ended the 2019 with Newcastle as far as that's concerned. But lads, pundits, whether it's been TalkSport, whether it's been Shearer, whether it's been anybody, they've wrote off against these big teams in the past. Like Man City, nobody, even sections of own fan base, like, could get beat 4 or 5-0 a day, and we managed to get 2-2 draw. Liverpool played a lot better against Liverpool away from home than many people.
We had options, Kyle.
Spurs will beat Spurs away from home and nobody give a hope or a prayer after getting beat off Norwich. So we're capable of upsetting these teams. Can we do it on New Year's Day though? That's the main question. I know we're going to have to rotate in some capacity, because if we don't, we're going to pick up a lot of injuries. And for me, even if it's a slight rotation, I don't want to rotate. I don't want to do a Mark Hughes on Boxing Day where he rotated in hope to win another game. I don't believe in that at all. I mean, it didn't work out for him.
That came back to bite him, didn't it?
It didn't work out for him, did it?
I don't believe in bad news.
But I wouldn't like us to do that, but I think we do need to rotate to some extent. And I think Leicester will have to do so as well, even though they rested 9 against West Ham and still managed to pick up 3 points. they're still going to have to rotate because they've got the FA Cup as well.
And
I know
they will
take that seriously because if you look at the Carabao Cup, they've played their full strength side against every team they've played, including us in early September, was it? Or late August? But that's by the by. For me, Leicester's going to be a really tough one. I'm not looking forward to it because I feel like going into this, they've got the beating on us at the minute. They're hammered for 5-0 at Leicester. Whether it was 10 men, 11 men, they would have scored a couple of passes.
They're a dangerous team. They're a dangerous team.
But if Bruce doesn't go mental again and play 4-4-2 against them, we might actually be able to hold them a little bit and not throw away 4 and 5 goals away from home. But hopefully he's learned his lesson.
And hopefully we get a decent ref.
But I want to go on to Rochdale because, believe it or not, lads, it's very depressing. But these lot have made the 5th round of the FA Cup more times in the past 12 years than we have.
That's a horrible start, isn't it?
They made the 5th round of the competition last year and they got beat off Tottenham in a replay at home, I recall. But other than that, in the FA Cup, we haven't made it past the 4th round since our semi-final where we got beat off Manchester United all those years ago. I think it was 2006, was that? If I'm right.
Rob's thinking now, it's ticking away in his little brain.
Sorry, something came up on the computer.
The semi-final against Man United in the FA Cup. When did we lose?
That was 2005.
I was in the Millennium. Was that Millennium?
Millennium Stadium.
We did reach the quarter-final the following season in 2006. We lost to Chelsea 1-0.
Yeah, we haven't really done anything since then. Since Mike Ashley took over, we haven't had a hope or a prayer in the FA Cup. I wonder why. Because he says I'll sell when we win a trophy and we haven't got past the 4th round, so tells you a lot, doesn't it? But Lee, you were at Rochdale Stadium, the Crown Royal Arena, if I'm correct.
Scotland.
Yeah, something like that. You were there as part of doing a documentary, which will be soon on the channel.
Yeah.
What was the stadium like?
I don't want to be disrespectful, because obviously it's not a Premier League ground, of course it isn't. I'm more happy that we've got Rochdale than Boston for 2 reasons. You get more fans in there. It's quicker to get home as well to early kick-off, so you can probably get home by tea. You get home by tea time, so 5-6. So the ground itself, it was all right. There were a lot of parking. I think parking will be easy for a lot of fans to get to. In terms of the ground and the atmosphere, I don't know. I've never been to Scotland, so it'll be a new one for me. But the one thing, and everybody can see it on the graphic, is their form is shocking at the minute. They've lost 8 out of the last 9 League One games, and they're struggling. And they're only hovering above the relegation zone because 4 go down from that division.
3 this season though.
Oh yeah, because of Bury, sorry. But normally 4, but yeah, they're struggling, and I think it's only a point or 2 that they're above the relegation.
One thing you've got to remember though, it's the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Like, all form goes out the window for the FA Cup. I've seen us go to Stevenage when they win the bottom of League 2, and they still manage to turn them over. Do you know what I mean? So the FA Cup, it all goes out the window. They think that's the one day they're looking forward to. They're playing the Premier League. The Premier League's coming to town. That's the one. That's how they can turn their season around. That's
their payday, isn't it?
That's the way they look at it. It's a great day for the community. Be a full house at Rochdale, and whether regarding the league, it's anything like that. It's a great chance for them to turn their season around. But their top goal scorer, Ian Henderson, scored 9 goals for them so far this season, and more importantly, he scored 6 FA Cup goals last season, and he went out at the 5th round. So he scored 6 goals in like 5 games, including against the likes of Tottenham and teams like that last season. So with the experience and things like that for him, is he going to be a threat? Because he's got the experience, Paul.
Yeah, I think he's got 9 goals or something, hasn't he?
Yeah.
9 goals this season.
He's 34, so...
Yeah.
We do have to show them the respect that they deserve, and we're going to need a team that is physically able to stand up to them and physically not going to be intimidated by the wall of noise, which I'm sure they'll get, because I remember the Stevenage one in particular. I think it was more the environment, the noise, the hostility and everything that probably tipped it in their favour a little bit, certainly in the first game down there. So if we don't step up, if we don't match that physicality and that passion and heart and desire, we could fall victim. But
it's happened to us before.
Yeah, we've got form, and even recent form, even under Rafa. So we've got to take it very, very seriously, and I hope the likes of the Longstaff brothers, they play, because they're going to get what it means to the club. And I think with the likes of their main, calvert-lewin in as well, a strong defence, and then see how it goes. That's why I said I would have liked some of the younger kids maybe on the bench, like Sorensen, to be able to introduce if we can get a foothold and assert our extra quality over them and quieten and dampen the crowd down. But it's not going to be easy to get it done. But obviously, in football isn't played on paper, so we've got to make sure that we are doing it right. And also, obviously, we haven't got anybody who's prolific, who, if it is going to go against us, like a Shearer, where you always thought he'll get one chance, he'll score, and we'll be able to get sorted out. But we haven't got that, so we need to be really, really careful. But on the other boot, if we can get a few goals and get the likes of Carroll off the mark and maybe a Dwight Gale off the mark, and as Rob touched on, maybe Joe Linton or something like that, getting a few goals, it can be a major, major boost to our league campaign as well.
Does Paul McShane play for them? I've just seen the graphic.
Yeah.
I mean, Ramsey,
shout out
to him, mate. But if he scores past us, he's going to have a fit, isn't he?
Yeah, I do my research. They've got
I didn't know
they've got some notable players. I don't know if you remember Aaron Wilbraham.
Yes.
Who had a brief spell in the Premier League. He's 40, and he's still playing for them.
He scored against us in March 2017.
Yeah, he did. He's not a Premier League standard. I'll rephrase that. But they've obviously got the young lad, Matheson, that we've been looking at as well, who plays right back. There's 16-year-old lad as well. So obviously Ian Henson's got 9 goals.
Got a mixture, like really old and then really young.
Callum Camps has got 6 as well. They've got a 15-year-old in the squad who hasn't made his debut yet, but he trains with the first team. I don't know his name, so apologies. But he's never made his debut with the 15-year-old.
Not played Old Trafford.
No, that's Luke Matheson, who's now on screen, the right back who scored. Newcastle are monitoring him. Will he play? He'll be buzzing. He will want to play. He's a 16-year-old lad coming up against Newcastle. He'll be knocking on the door and saying, play me. Because it's not always starting, but they've got a few notable players, a couple of youngsters.
If you're them, right, and you've got a potential prize asset like that, you're going to put them in there because you know the Premier League scouts are watching, you know that Newcastle are watching, and if somebody catches their eye, they may end up coming back in for them.
Lad, it's like, I'm playing Newcastle United. It's a dream.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely. But it is, like you say, it's a license for them to earn a few pounds as well. So they're not going to be.
It's all for us to lose this game. Not. They've got everything to gain. They're expected to go out. They'll obviously get a few quid off the ticket sales. BT Sport with the money coming in. It's fantastic for lower. Obviously, I've done a documentary around it. It's great for lower league football to get money coming in for them. So it's their day. It's not us. It's a massive banana skin, but it's their day for them.
That's the thing. I'm really glad it's on BT Sport because I could bet my future house on this. The BBC will no doubt show that Ronnie Radford goal all the time. It's only BBC that always sort of shove it down.
Love it, don't they?
And
John Watson.
6 years after that, Wrexham beat Arsenal in the FA Cup. No one knows of that because everyone's too busy shoving down the Ronnie Radford, like BBC especially. Too busy shoving the Ronnie Radford goal down people's throats. It's ridiculous.
But before I make my final point before we go to a break, just to let everybody know that you can contact us on WhatsApp. You can send your messages in on 07476 497 166. You can text in any questions or any observations from the show that you may have for the lads going forward. You can also contact us via email as well, contact@nftvstudio@gmail.com. So if you want to get involved and get involved with questions and things like that on the show, you can do. But that wraps up. Actually, before we wrap up, I'll get quick predictions from the Freeze lads. I know I hate them, but do you think, in terms of wins, how many we're picking up out of these next 2 games?
1.
Lee?
Sorry. Leicester will take a point. The FA Cup, I think, we will scrape through.
So you think our potential 2 games, a win and a draw?
Well, I'm hopeful. I think we will beat Rochdale, but Leicester one, I don't know.
Well, as you've went on about Ronnie Radford there, Rob, there's always potential that can happen, but I'm hoping we'll play a strong side, get into them early and get a couple of goals against the League One side. But that wraps up part 3 of the Black and White show, and in the next part we're going to be asking the big questions of the decade, see what we can get. It's going to be all debate, this one, so from a news perspective, that part of the show is over. It's all opinions, all debate. Get yourselves involved in the comments. WhatsApp, email, let me know your opinions. But that's all next on the Black and White Show, and we'll speak to you in a few minutes. To the Black and White Show on Nova Radio Northeast 102.5 FM. I've been your host, Kyle Thompson. I'm with Rob, Paul, and Lee. And before we go into part 4, summing up the decade, answering all the big questions, I was speaking to Isha earlier on, and I nearly forgot to put this clip in, but she's got perfect analysis, perfect summary of the upcoming 2 games. So play the clip, Lee.
I feel like our strength this season has been our defence, and it seems that discipline had gone in the Everton game, and I am pretty concerned that there's not much time to work on it before Wednesday. Leading up to the second goal, Almiron and Joe Linton were encouraged to press high, and although we looked quite promising, Everton just had so much pace going forward, and it was a shame, but I do think this season we have played a lot worse in defeat. Looking ahead, the most important thing is just maintaining a delicate balance when it comes to establishing our style of play. I mean, Steve Bruce has done a little trial and error so far this season, as we've seen. The Brighton game, for example, we pressed high and it didn't work. The reverse fixture in September against Leicester, he shifted 4 at the back and they weren't ready for that. He changed the formations 3 times in the Everton game. When the tinkering has worked out, we're happy, of course, but when it hasn't, we've just looked a mess. The latter we ended up in the Everton game, to be honest. Getting the balance right is crucial, but it does need to be done in small steps over our upcoming fixtures. If we lose against Leicester, that's 3 defeats on the trot, and that's more pressure on Bruce with regards to sourcing assets, even a loan signing in the January transfer window. And the power of a signing would be a huge boost. We've seen that in the past. Last season, for example, Almiron. The January before that, Dubravka and Kennedy. So the potential is there for a season changer to get on board, but I think it's this week's results that will play a huge part in the urgency to do so. Or as Steve Bruce referred to the January transfer activity as having a few plates spinning. Quick word on what we're up against on Wednesday. So, second place Leicester, they won 2-1 yesterday against West Ham, interestingly, resulting in Pellegrini's dismissal. Prior to the game, Brendan Rodgers made it clear that he would rest players in the middle of a hectic Christmas period, so he actually made 9 changes to the squad since the Boxing Day Liverpool defeat, and they were even missing the formidable Jamie Vardy due to his wife giving birth. Yet they still managed to win comfortably, and I expect another dominating performance on Wednesday, presumably with their super striker back in action too, Vardy. They really show their strength and depth, and they play with a certain air of confidence that I think will be a challenge for us, no doubt. If we can get something against Leicester on Wednesday, at least we'll head into Saturday's FA Cup match with boosted morale, because the last thing we want is to start the year with a banana skin defeat, especially as a Wolves fixture is just around the corner and they're on top form. I think it's a crucial period for us, and I hope we evolve our style of play in time to get back to our recent winning ways. I guess it's both a blessing and a curse at the same time, that momentum, it develops very, very quickly at our club, whether that's losing or winning. And I just hope Steve Bruce can galvanise the deflated squad from a disappointing festive period.
He did a bit of a Jose Mourinho, then realised that he's got replacement knees and replacement hips and stuff, and remembered his age. So I think there is a togetherness in the
Still
squad.
Research though, didn't you? Done well there.
Yeah, good piece.
Well
good
done.
piece there.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well, this is the part of the show where we're all getting involved. The big questions of the decade. I want everyone to get involved, whether it's the chat, whether it's email, whether it's the WhatsApp, text, anything, because it's the big questions of the decade. And the first one I've got is, what is your best match of the decade? And it's just a round the table discussion for every question. So, Paul, I'll come to you first. What's your best match of the decade?
Putting us on a situation totally.
There's quite a few, man.
I'm going to say
that stand out for me.
One straight away, because it literally, as soon as I think of awesome moment, it's the first one that comes to my head. It's Spurs away, just because of the entire day. I expected an absolute mauling. The entire day, the fact of the stadium, going to a new stadium for the first time, the result, the goal, the way we took it, the commentary as well. Everything all together was absolutely fantastic. So if you're going to put me on the spot straight away without any chance
I bet you change your mind, but some other people
will change your mind.
Yeah, although the Barnsley away one as well on a personal on a personal note as well.
Best personal moment of the year is coming up on the questions as well. Lee, I'll come to you because you've had time to think about this, because you've seen them.
I only seen it late last night.
You've seen it do the stream. So, what's your best match of the decade?
Paul's looking at the picture, thinking that, clicking on now. It's got to be that 5-1 win.
And Sam, who does many report for it,
it has to be.
It's an amateur team.
Newcastle 6, Villa 0 is his.
Ooh, well, yeah, I can get
mine personally. Actually, no, Lee, what was yours again? Sorry.
5-1 Derby win. It's 5-1 or 4-4. It has to be one of those two.
Mine, I'll share that as well. I mean, for a year and a half, Sunderland fans had the banter over us. Wood got relegated. They laughed at where we're in the Championship. They were we won the Championship a couple of years prior, so it doesn't matter what you do there.
See, they were
building up, and they were saying, this is going to be the game where we hammer you. No problem at all. Got Darren Bent, we've got this, what that. Now it's Steve Bruce in charge, as it happens.
Still doing a great job there.
But I went to the Sportsman in North Shields with my dad this day. Shout out to him, and just the build up of the day. We couldn't get moved in the bar. Honestly, it was mad. And those goals going in the scenes, Lee thinks strangling and castration's a bad thing when the goals go in when I'm around. Trust me. I think I was 13, 14 at the time. My God, I got strangled half to death.
The nerves on those
several
derby days.
times. And even when Sunderland scored, it was just a laugh. Ah, you're not doing now. It's just such a fantastic day, man. I wasn't at the game, but what a day in the bar. It was just all the build up, and then afterwards, it was Halloween as well, so we go out trick or treating, laughing at Sunderland. Not bad, eh? Rob,
dressed up as Titus Bramble.
not quite. Rob, what's your moment of the decade?
Yeah, it's got to be the 5-1. Others that are up there, if you want me to pick something else, you've got the 3-0 over Man United. You've got the 2 nights when we got promotion back to the Premier League. One of those, the 4-4, which was also mentioned earlier. Yeah, there's
Steve Harper.
Quite a lot.
People's elbow.
Yeah, indeed. There's some amazing moments. Probably a special mention, Newcastle 4, Norwich 3. That was such a good game.
Oh, yes, I
that was the one I was at.
I was at that, yeah.
One of the major ones that I was at, and honestly I thought the game was done and done after 72 minutes, but we somehow got back in the win.
I had a £2 bet, we'll win 4-3.
Mental scenes then. But the next one I've got, best, actually no, we'll go to a couple of comments. Vivid Archer put, best moment of the decade, Papi Cissé away at Chelsea. 2-0.
Oh, yes.
Cissé's 2 goals. He started his own goal of the month competition, and
best goal of the decade.
The next one is best goal of the decade, which puts us right onto it. I'll start.
Perfect. Yeah.
Papi Cissé's outside of the foot volley, 90 odd minutes into the game, absolutely unreal, man. I still can't believe this actually happened. And Rob, I think it'd be yours as well. This Papi Cissé goal. But Paul, what's your goal of the decade? Do you think it's a Cissé one, or would you say another one?
That was just unbelievable. It defied the laws of gravity. How that went in, I still think Peter Cech probably doesn't know.
Still waving, isn't he? Going backwards.
It was just, and the thing is, it was just a fantastic game. So obviously we don't do great down London anyway historically, but that goal, I don't think you're going to find much better than that. Nah.
Ben Arthur for me, it's been on screen there. That FA Cup goal.
It was special.
It's not talked about as much as the Bolton game because it was in the FA Cup.
I thought the Bolton goal was better.
I think the Blackburn one, he's took on about 7 players. And
Shelby away versus QPR?
Oh yeah, the curler. That was the 6-0 win.
I don't think it was any worse. I mean, QPR away, I've got a funny story of that one as well. I had tickets to go to my first away game, and it was QPR. And I says, Dad, we're going down to QPR away. He says, it's Tuesday night, son, I can't be bothered. I'll never forgive him because we won 6-0. Yeah. I still bring it up to this day. I'm like, Dad, what were you thinking? And he's like, well, we wouldn't go until 7 o'clock. I says, well, it's ideal when that was on. But no, we didn't go and won 6-0. And Dad, I'll never forgive you for that, mate. I really won't. But honourable mention, Dababal versus Reading. Yeah, unbelievable pass.
Volley.
And then caught sweetly on the volley. Superb goal.
Did we win 2-0 that game? Has he scored again, didn't he?
2-2.
Oh, he scored 2 though, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
The other was the last time we scored with a hand. It was a handball. And that was the last time we scored with a hand.
Sadly not the hand of God.
Indeed.
What about that goal against Brighton as well?
Oh, Diarma's goal against Brighton. That was a brilliant.
Funny as that.
That was the best bit of skill I've ever seen. No look involved at all. But on to the next one for me. Best personal moment of the decade. And Paul, you went on to this before with the win at Barnsley. Do you want to tell your story?
Yeah, obviously I used to work and live down in Barnsley, and I used to work in a large school with 700 children, all giving me...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, all giving me absolute torrents worth of abuse. Colleagues all giving us torrents worth of abuse. So I turn up, we go down there, we win 2-0, I'm singing, yeah, we're going to win the league and everything. I'm getting all the messages in, as you can imagine. Next day for assembly, I took assembly, we had a local hero playing instead of them people as the children gone in. Newcastle scarf on, the full works. On the screen behind us was footage from the match. It was absolutely fantastic. If we had have lost that game, I'd have been phoning in sick. There's no doubt about it at all. But it was a siege mentality. Everybody, I mean, even at dinner time, children coming up to us as they were lining up and they were all singing Barnsley, we love you. So to get that, the scenes in the away end, there were several thousand. They're absolutely packing out the away end for Newcastle, and it was great. And as the goals went in, my phone, the battery must have just drained because the amount of messages that I got off parents, friends, colleagues, it was just brilliant.
Well, my personal moment of the decade will probably be. It was going to be the 2 Leicester games, the 2-1, the 2-1 and the 1-0, but Tottenham recently surpassed it. What a day, man! In all, getting up, being there for the train as usual, perfect drive down, great laugh with Paul, Lee, and Johnny, who's probably watching on the stream. The game was just brilliant, the perfect game plan. The weather was absolutely unbelievable. It was probably too hot, if I'm honest, but just an unbelievable day all round. Great day. Just shows how powerful football can be. Because I probably had a bad week that week, and a lot was going on, and that just topped everything off, made everything all better, and that's what football can do. So yeah, perfect. I'd say. Lee, what's yours?
The anniversary. I thought it was. Forget about your politics about the club. 52,000 got involved in the club's birthday. I thought that was amazing. The picture on the screen's one of my favourites of the ground ever. It was just, you had the Gallagher flags, war flags, brilliant scenes. You had the whole stadium had the black and white flags.
There's 2 small signs ruining it. No, 3 small signs ruining it.
There was stuff on the quayside about it. There was on the bridges. It was holograms and everything. It was just forget about the result. You got beat off Leicester, but just that united as one. I know that's a pun and it's saying that club are trying to promote, but it was just amazing. That lives long in the memory. Also, you mentioned Barnsley winning the championship title at St James's Park was Roy the Rover stuff, a notable mention there, but the anniversary for me was just tops it all off. Brilliant.
Yeah, the championship deal was quite good as well. I paid 35 quid for a ticket that day, all worth it in the end. But Rob, what's your personal favourite memory of the decade before we move on?
That's a tight one. It's one of those things is up there that this is the decade where I first went to away matches. I love them. Great laughs, great days. However, I think I've only been to one away win, and that was Sheffield United earlier this month.
Yeah, we were going to kick you out the car when you told me that stat.
Yeah. So for me, I think it's got to be the night that we got promotion in April 2017, because that night when we won, I remember I was living in Swansea at the time, and I just went ballistic, ran with like my Newcastle flag around my back, Newcastle shirt, just like sprinted through the streets of Swansea, and then saw the lads from the football team at uni, shout out to them, and I remember just the scenes, because they were all really credit to them, they were all really rooting for Newcastle to do well just because of me.
I think also is Pavs and Czech's death as well, and all the sad moments, but they also stand out as well. So
Gary Speed,
So there's 3 there who are no longer with us,
it's amazing
for the wrong reasons. That's in the moments at the top, but
it's still amazing how people unite.
Yeah, and Papa Cisse crying. I mean, that was heartbreaking. That Cisse crying at his funeral was devastating. That.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we go on to the next big question of the decade, let's have a look through a couple of comments. Shelby Wavers, QPR, Bennett, I think they're the 2 goals. 3-3 against Arsenal came from behind. 4-1, TOE equaliser. Got one from Kenny as well. How do I make a cup of tea? Teabag first, mate. Teabag first.
Kind of loves a bit of a teabag.
We do apologise for that, for any offence caused.
But best manager of the decade, it's kind of self-explanatory, this one, isn't it, Rafa?
Yeah, it's got to be. Pardew for the 5th place, you might say honourable mention.
But it's got to be Calvert. Calvert's got to be number 1. He said himself.
Well, to be fair, at least John Calvert didn't take me down though. That's the one thing he has on his CV.
He did though.
Yeah, but he didn't take me down. Steve McLaren took me down. Yeah, it's got to be Rafa for the stress and the lack of backing him, isn't it?
When
I think you've got to
down.
give Pardew a mention, saying that we finished 5th, which is an incredible achievement. But
that being said, Rafa Benitez by an absolute landslide.
Yeah, Rafa.
On the best player of the decade, lads. For me, I'm going to start off and say Jamal Lascelles is my player of the decade. Now, I know it'll cause a bit of controversy, one people thinking, why Jamal Lascelles? But that day against Southampton, where we got hammered, and a young lad who had not played much, he'd been sent off earlier in the season, he wasn't getting a good run of games, he stands up and makes himself counted, and that's what we wanted at the time when you had Daryl Yama chucking his toys out the pram, you had all that. For me,
Funnily enough, Lascelles tried exactly the same thing at half-time against Everton in February, that earlier that season when Steve McLaren was in charge. And apparently the response from McLaren and the team was, "Who are you? You're a reserve player. You have no right to tell us what to do." Rafa comes in, Lascelles tries it again, and all of a sudden players get motivated by it.
I mean, I know there'll be a couple of responsible for a couple of names. Obviously, you can drop Cabaye and things that are in there. But personally, I think Lascelles, since being made captain, I think he's carried himself fantastically. And I can't imagine a Newcastle United without him. I know he's not highly rated by large sections of the crowd because I prefer Lejeune, Cher, whatever. But personally, Lascelles for me is my player of the decade. Rob, who's yours?
He's definitely the best captain we've had this decade.
Oh, for sure.
I think, although it was only for 18 months, I think Demba Ba has got to be there.
Really?
Yeah, it's just goals coming out from nowhere, and even if we were struggling for goals, he would just come in.
Agreement in the comments.
Yeah.
So, I think at least you solidified in that, bro. Lee, what do you think?
I haven't got one.
You don't have a player of the day?
Really?
No, I don't think
Not
anyone
one.
who's stood out.
Cabaye.
When I think of someone who's like had longevity, not many of them have been at the club.
Jose
for long.
Perez.
But
There you go.
Perez.
if you push this and
Perez.
push this and
Yeah.
push this, I'll flip it on. Who do Newcastle fans wish to have back out of all those players? And most people say Ben Arthur.
Jack Trainer says Emmanuel Riviere.
But I'll go Ben Arthur because
How didn't I
that's.
think of him?
I really haven't got a player, but I'll probably go Ben Arthur because a lot of people would love to have him back. So I'll go
To
with
be
Ben
fair,
Arthur.
if there was a player out of the decade I'd want to come back, I wouldn't look any further than Cabaye or Demba Ba, because Demba Ba can score goals and Cabaye makes everything tick. So if there was two, it would probably be them two, even though themselves as me player of the decade, but he is a current player. Paul, I'll come on to you before we wrap up because it's the last question. That's all I have time for. Who's yours?
Player of the decade?
Yes.
Jose Perez.
Perez.
Cut the goals at the end of the day.
Right, I'm away.
The other ones I would have probably gone for have been picked off. I mean, Cabaye, I loved Cabaye when he was here. Hadn't been Arthur, I would have him back all day long. I wouldn't have sold him in the first place, wouldn't have got rid. We've had a load of great players. I think Lascelles has been absolutely fantastic. We've had
great players, you say, but have we seen the best of them, do you think?
That's true, that's a good point. But if I was to pick one, I'd still say Perez, because of the amount of goals, what he cost us, the service that he gave us, and the money that he made us when he's moved on. I think he got a lot of flack. Some deserve it, some not so deserve it. But yes, to be different, I'll say Jose Perez.
There's a couple of questions were like Remy as well. Even though he was only here for a season, he did play very well.
14 goals.
I think Rondon was better. Rondon was better straight than Remy made. I'd love to have seen them together though. It would have been a fantastic partnership, both of them together in the prime. But
even like Jonas Gutierrez and players like that, fantastic.
I mean, I had two more questions, but we only have like a minute left of the show, so I don't.
Well, it could be give you one word answers.
Yeah, I mean the main question that I've got is where will Newcastle be in the next decade? We need longer than a minute.
I will say we will not have Mike Ashley as owner. That's what I would say. I think we'll have someone different in the next 10 years.
I second that.
I don't know where we'll be, but we won't have Mike Ashley in the next 10 years. In this time, 10 years to forward,
Fair enough.
and that's a positive.
Will we have Mike Ashley in 10 years?
No,
Rob?
No.
Right. Okay. Well, that's it's quite no. There's no Mike Ashley in the comments as well. Vivid Archer saying he'll be out the door. But that wraps up not just Black White Show for this weekend, but
for this decade.
This decade. It's the last one of 2019, and this show's came so far since sitting in a tiny little room. It's another radio show trying to build this up to where we are now. It's been an absolutely unbelievable journey, and we're looking to get bigger and better as the weeks go on. People around the table looking to get better. But that's been 2019, the Black White Show, and catch us in a bit. See you later.